Woo! Okay. Now, gotta apologize. Oh, don't have my settings open. That's great. Let's see if this gets a little better. There we go. Video quality is not great. Whatever. Do. No, I can't modify that. Of course not. Why would I? Hello. There's one concurrent viewer. That's fun. Let's hope I don't crash my OBS this time, because that would be unfortunate. Oh, what? Oh, there it is. Okay. Shit. I thought I lost it. That would have been good. Let's see. Not standard bullshit vacillating. Hello, Simon Nightingale. Thank you for being the first commenter on the stream. I'm just obsessing over the fact that this is not my normal login. I'm on my work login, which means OBS settings and camera settings are a little messed, but you guys don't know about that, so I should just not talk about it. Okay, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining, Simon. Are you doing some work in progress Wednesday action as well this evening? What are you getting up to? Let me know. Hey, Jacob. I managed not to break everything yet, but I was kind of futzing around with it. Kajan, you're here too. Awesome. Isn't it super late for you, buddy? Although I guess I should ask Simon how late it is for him, because I have no idea. Could be late for everybody. Yeah, so I'm using like my non-standard settings, so this is not ideal, but we'll make it work. Okay. So, got my fancy Dan handle that David made me. You can, oh wow, this looks really pink on there. I love it. Color is nuts. This is my fancy Dan sculpting handle. So you can see I got a leg on here. This is the leg for the gun beast. Oh, is this the part where I try and fuck with my settings? Yeah, that looks a little gross. Hold on a sec. I'm going to try and make this a little better. 2 a.m., Kajan? You're a machine. I can't believe you're sitting around here watching some nutcase sculpt Tyranids at 2 a.m. Okay, so this is the part where I mess with my webcam settings for about 3 hours to try and get this a little less annoying. Nope, that's not what I want. Nope. Patience, please. Is it the gain that's messed up? God, it's so livid. Vivid? Livid? Lurid? Lurid. That's the word I'm looking for. Lurid. Oh, let's turn that down. Oh, that's pretty good. Why doesn't it look sharp? Let's see here. Sorry. I'm trying to get this done quickly. Sorry. Wait, I'm Canadian. Sorry. Oh, wait, is that how the Americans say it? I don't know. Where the hell is the focus? It always hides on me. LED, backlight, power line? What the hell? Focus! There we go. Let's see. Nope, that's bad. That is also bad. Maybe that's as sharp as I can get it. Wouldn't be a stream without me messing around for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Waiting for everybody else to finish their dessert and join up. Okay, that's probably as good as it's going to get. Swear it plays nicely with the other children when I'm on the other thing. Oh, wait, is that the problem? Nope, that's off. Okay, let's update that profile and hope for the best. Okay, get this out of here. So hi everybody, welcome. Simon was working on a model painting commission earlier, but I'm just relaxing now. Texas 7, that's normal time. We got the Texans talking. Year of Nurgle. After all, I can catch up on sleep when I'm dead. Okay, Kaja, that's you take that in mind, and you might be dead before you know it. Don't skip on too much sleep. Joshua, the funny one. Yo, Josh, that's you, buddy. Good to see you, buddy. That's that Kroot guy, the funny guy. Okay, well, you better bring it. Well, sadly, I'm not working on a Kroot tonight because it's still September. So Kroot-toberfest has not started yet. Technically, it has, but let's pretend I don't know that. Trying to use my Nivea as a mouse. That's going to work real well. Okay. Let's get the setup that I like. Okay, giant comments. That Kroot guy, welcome to the stream, buddy. Good to have you here. I'm not working on Kroot yet. I'm going to do a little more Tyranids and then switch over to Kroot when Kroot-tober really starts in October. So next week's stream will be Kroot sculpting. You can look forward to that if that's what you're into. But I really want to finish this friggin' guy, and he's taken way too long. So that's what I was hoping to do tonight. Might have to do some cutting. How exciting is that? So yeah, for anyone who is not aware, in the chat we've got Jacob Foster, and Joshua Ornelas. Hopefully that's not your real name. If it is, sorry, buddy. But they are both members of the Kroot Siege of Tetch, Kroot Invasion team project that we're doing. So good to have you both aboard. And I recorded an episode with the Kroot boys just the other day. However, I've just finished editing it. I just have to put the final touches on it for the Xenos Alchemist podcast. I wanted to get it out for October 1st because, well, I got these for my birthday. God hand. What I like about them is that you can see they're tapered, and they're thick at the bottom and thin at the top. So that's good times. Anyway, I recorded an episode with these dudes. I'm kind of a new... Oh, the one thing I hate about these, though, is that you used to be able to measure bits by rolling them on the surface and making sure they're the same size, but now I got to do it the old-fashioned way. I think that's the same size. Recorded an episode about Kroot-tober, but we also used it as an update about the Siege of Tetch Kroot Invasion thing. So you can look forward to that very soon. Maybe I'll get it up on Friday. Maybe that's a good time for a podcast episode. And then you can look forward to that then. What's going on? So Joshua Ornelas is known as the funny one in our little group, so he better bring the fun today. Oh, you're sculpting sassy samurai pants, Josh. That's amazing. Glad to hear it, buddy. Hopefully that video that I made not too long ago is helpful for you. God hand. And yeah, hopefully you don't find it too difficult to sculpt those sassy samurai pants. So what I'm doing here is I want to give this leg some... These things were supposed to be the hooves initially, but then I realized they didn't really look that good and they weren't really that large. So I sculpted in some like connective tissue. Actually, let's do this. I sculpted in some... Okay, so they were supposed to be the hooves, but I didn't like the look of them, so I sculpted this connective tissue over them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the hoof kind of like on the end of that little nubbin. It's going to be kind of like what I was doing for my dom. Dom-da-dom-dom-dom. So it's going to be a sitch kind of like this. Oh god, you can't see that because it's so bright, can you? Well, it's got like connective tissue here and there's like a big stompy hoof on it, so I'm going to do a similar thing here. Let me see that dum. That dum-da-dum-dum-dum. Oh, that does not work. Well, I'm just going to put that away. I hope for the best. Okay, so in order to put a hoof on here, this is all just like green stuff smashed onto this. So I want to give it a little more structure, purchase. So I'm going to put a pin in each one of these. Both to... Oh, for fuck's sake. to secure... What the hell is that? To secure the stuff I've already sculpted and to give a solid base for what I'm going to be adding. Because this is just epoxy sculpt and green stuff, which is not that solid. I'm going to be doing it up with my new fave, epoxy clay. Oh, that does not feel good. Cutting towards myself, good call. Just trying to get a flat surface that I can pin into. There we go. And these pins aren't going to be super long. They're just going to be like little nubbins sticking out at the end, so that when I sculpt on the... Ooh, that God hand. Ooh, look at that. Look at that grip. Look at that God hand drilly grip. Some good stuff right there. Yeah, I just want a little nub sticking out so that the putty sticks to it, kind of. Gives it a little more structure. And then I'm also drilling into the plastic in here, theoretically. Did I pick my God hand right? God hand. God damn, that's a fit, I think. Oh, that's a tight fit. Great. So yeah, I'm just going to put in 3 little pins here to strengthen what I'm going to sculpt after. I'm drilling through epoxy green, so epoxy sculpting green stuff, so it's not that solid. It's actually more crumbly than anything. That's why I choose to use the epoxy clay when I'm doing really tough stuff. And I'm hanging on to this like a noob, because I just friggin' super glued that thing on and then put some putty over it, and it's going to snap right off if I put too much strain on it. So I probably could just slap the hooves on here, but always be pinning. Always be pinning. It saves you heartache later when you didn't pin and something just snaps right off. I'd rather not have to come back and do it again. And when you're sculpting, if you're using epoxy clay, supremely pinnable. It's pretty tough stuff. Okay, I think I've hit plastic there, which is good. Yeah, it looks like it. This one, I don't know if I went in far enough. God, these God hand bits. Oh, that's plastic. Yep. Okay, so we're into the plastic. This one. Yep, that's plastic. So we're at least a little bit in. What are people talking about? We got Faraday in here. Hey, Faraday. There's one thing I have never seen a YouTube sculpting video about: methods for securely attaching your tiny subassembly sculptures. Like if you sculpt a hand or head separate. I've never seen videos about attaching them to the body. Faraday, I'd just say that the method for attaching small subassemblies to an actual model is pinning. Basically what I'm doing here. Basically what I did with this guy. Ugly face of this Tyranid gun beast. Oh look, he's got a little pin in the back of his head. And it goes like so. Bing. That pin should be longer. But yeah, that's how I would do it. Just, I feel like when you're sculpting something, it's probably going to be on a pin anyway. So just drill a hole into your model and pin that sucker in. Like, this is technically a subassembly. It's not small, but I've got a big honking pin on it because it's got to support the weight of this thing. And then I shove it in there. Just like that. Yeah, pinning, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like people are lazy when it comes to pinning. They're like, oh, pinning, what a pain in the ass. But pinning will save you so much heartache down the road. Whenever I don't pin because I'm lazy, I always regret it. So I think that's what other people are telling you. It is big enough you pin it, but what if it's tiny and you have armature wire inside of it? Faraday, I just say that the armature wire is your pin. Anything below a certain size will be too fragile to put on after the fact. Jeez, bad gamer. At least I got my right. So yeah, Faraday, I'd still say pins. If it's really small, go and get go to a proper hobby shop and get brass pins. Don't use Like, I know you said you've got armature wire, but like you can get brass pins that are like this thin. So super thin for like little things. And this is pretty flexible because it's so small, but the larger the brass pin, the more secure it is. But yeah, just get a small pin and like use this pin, and the pin attaches it so it's in one place and it gives more surface area for the super glue to hold to. But then you can always like add a little bit of reinforcing putty around it and use like a strong putty. Green stuff, not good because it'll just, well, actually green stuff, I've learned this from Zihydra, that green stuff is good when you have small things that could easily break off because pure green stuff flexes. You use other putties like Epoxy Sculpt is fantastic, but it's a little more brittle than green stuff. So if you put it on something that's going to flex, Epoxy Sculpt is going to snap. When I'm making big crap like this, that's epoxy clay because it's solid and I can pin into it and it's not going to bend and not going to rip. But if it's thin enough, it will snap. So small, thin things, if you make them out of green stuff, they'll bend, which is good, rather than breaking. But if you have a... Is that? Whatever the hell. If you have a wire in there, it should give it a little more stability. And then you can put like a stronger clay on the outside, like Milliput Super White or epoxy clay, to reinforce the joint between the hand and the thing you're pinning it into. That's what I would try and do. I don't know if that helps. Hey, look, this glue's back. Anyone who follows me on Instagram knows that I swore off it. But then I realized I had another one in like an old box that had like, it was like super thin. I bought super thin glue, mistake. But it still had a cap that fits. So I shoved the cap on this thing and what do you know, this thing's new again. And then I went out and bought fucking 3 more of these caps for $1.50. But they won't sell you these things. So if you do what I did and you get this stuck on here, you're buggered. But as long as you can get that off, you can buy replacement ones of these. Faraday, looks like people are giving you lots of good tips in the chat. That's good. But yeah, honestly, just pinning. That's what I would do. Speaking of pinning, that's what you tuned in for tonight, right? On the sculpting stream. Watch me pin shit. Trust, these are armatures. They're useful later. Get on in there. Got my big honkin' clippers for big honkin' pins. Except for I can't really see what I'm doing. So I don't want these pins to be too long because I don't want my hooves to be too long, but... Oh, so good. I'm using my shitty little clippers trying to get these things off. That is probably pretty long, but probably not too long. Let's do another one. This is a tight hole. God, I shouldn't have said that out loud. So, any Canadians up in the joint should be well aware that today was an important day in Canada, September 30th. It is Orange Shirt Day. And if you're not familiar with Orange Shirt Day, let me advise you. And if you're not Canadian, this might be interesting for you too, because there seems to be this myth out there in the world that Canada has got racism licked and everything is happy shiny here. Not the case. You know that thing that your president said the other day about Proud Boys? Guess who invented Proud Boys? Oh, that's right, Canada. The first Proud Boy was a Canadian. God, we're sorry. Anyway, one of the things that Canada hasn't done great with is Indigenous reconciliation. We've been working on it, but we still got a lot of work to do. So today is a day called Orange Shirt Day, which is a commemoration of children that the Canadian government, Indigenous children, the Canadian government took away from their families and put into what were called residential schools. They were also called Indian schools. They were initially run by various church groups, and then there was all kinds of proven incidents of abuse of these children and complete neglect and just being basic assholes to other human beings. And the Canadian government took over these schools, but it really wasn't great for these children because they got taken away from their families. And the goal of these schools was to remove the Indigenous from these children and make them happy, shiny, contributing members of society. And it was a horrible, horrible experiment that failed horribly. And we're trying to make amends for it. So Orange Shirt Day is a commemoration of a recognition of the survivors of the residential schools and a memorial for the children who died. because a lot of children died. And that was not cool. So today we wear orange shirts to remember that. And if you're Canadian, consider making a donation to an Indigenous charity. There's a lot of them who are selling orange shirts to make donations. So that's your little Canadian History Minute for today. Hope you enjoyed that. What's going on in the chat? Okay. Make it so easy. I'm bellowing like a gibbon because I can't find my glue. Sorry, Josh. Always need more glue. Gotta go to your local garden center and buy floral wire. Yes, yes. So there's different kinds of floral wire that you can buy, but I got... Oh, I don't know where it is. I'm not gonna go look for it. When I was working on the here, so you don't feel like you're drunk. When I was working on the Nyarlathotep Broodlord, I was using this crazy black floral wire, and it's like the trippiest stuff. I loved it because it's weird when you like put a little bit of pressure on it, it's pretty resistant, but then if you put a little more pressure, it just like flows like water. So you can bend it into all these different shapes, but it has like, God, I wish I knew something about physics. It has some resistance to it, but it also is very flexible. No idea how that works. So Kajan's talking about floral wire. I think you're talking about the silver stuff, but I'm talking about the black stuff. And the gauge is like a little thicker, but it was the absolute best thing for making armatures. So see if you can find that if you're looking to make an armature, if you're okay with a thicker gauge. But I think Kajan's suggestion of the steel floral wire is better for pinning. Make milliput more flexible by using less of the yellow stuff. I hate milliput. I'm not the guy to ask. I'm pretty sure epoxy is harder than milliput, but if you're using milliput super white, that stuff is pretty hard. Way to go, Canada. Boarding schools tried to Christianize them. Read a book by an author who went to one of the schools. Yeah, the school thing is creepy. The Indigenous residential school stuff. So I'm glad we're trying to do better. Anyway, so yeah, what you need to know is that Canada is just as racist as anywhere else. And if people try and tell you different, they're lying. Because we've all got problems with systemic racism, and we got to get to the bottom of it. Black Lives Matter. And, and the other thing, I don't know, if you ever Canadians looking into Orange Shirt Day and Canadian residential schools, their tagline is "Every Child Matters," which is a little disturbingly close to "All Lives Matter," but it was actually something that they came up with independent of Black Lives Matter. And yes, they are also supporters of Black Lives Matter. The Orange Shirt Foundation. Anyway, if you want to learn more about this, just go online and Google Canadian residential schools. Canadian Indigenous residential schools or residential Indigenous schools. Could I speak, maybe? Or look up Orange Shirt Day, Canada, or Orange Shirt. I think it's called the Orange Shirt Foundation, is the organization that organizes for awareness about Orange Shirt Day and Indigenous issues. And if you don't care about Indigenous issues, then you can get the fuck out, because I don't want anything to do with you. Non-Indigenous people have done some really shitty things to Indigenous people, and we got a lot of making up to do and a lot of work to do to fix that. And if you don't care, and if you think you shouldn't feel guilty about these kinds of things, you really need to do more reading. Because if you're feeling guilty, it's probably because you have something to feel guilty about. And sure, if it's shit that happened like decades ago, generations ago, yeah, you can try and dismiss it, but the problem is that these people who experienced that abuse generations ago have intergenerational trauma that's being passed down to their kids, so if they have to still deal with it, so do we. Anyway, here's your little settler lesson for today. Maybe we should do some sculpting. You're right. Thanks for sticking around. Okay, what are people talking about? One wound or a stick, using apertures. Sculpt fingerprints real good on any surface. So Faraday, if you're sculpting your fingerprints real good on any surface, what you need to do is get some silicone shapers. And they will help you with that. Because you need silicone shapers silicone shapers to buff out that stuff. Is sculpting normal? Oh, God. Okay, let's do this the old-fashioned way. Let's see if this works. Sorry, this is once again me messing with my settings because I had them all out of whack. So I just pinned this, and I put glue on it. So not ideal to try and sculpt something else onto it, because what I'll do is I'll take my Fancy Dan German mark silicone shaper that I can't replace, and I'll sculpt some stuff, and I'll invariably shove my silicone shaper into the super glue, and that's one ruined silicone shaper. So you definitely don't want to do that. So maybe I'll put it on something else. I'll let this guy dry, even though I wanted to get him done. And I will shove this guy in my handy dandy David painting handle, sculpting handle, and get some sculpting work on him. So I could do that same kind of thing where I put the connective tissue over this to prepare for the new hoof. I could clean this stuff up. Actually, let's do that, because I did that on the other leg, and it was pleasing. It was pleasing to me. Okay, so first, now that I've done this, I will go back, and I will do the song and dance that starts off every sculpting video. Oh shit, I remember. There's some tips I wanted to give you. So check this out. How pink is that? I really wish I could fix the color. Anyway, so this is Silly Putty. And I had someone come up to me, send me a message on Instagram, and they were someone who's much more fastidious than I am, and they think ahead and they plan ahead and stuff like that. And they said, hey, I want to practice sculpting. Can you recommend a putty that doesn't cure, that is similar enough to green stuff that I could use it to practice? I'm like, practice? Just get some green stuff and mess around with it. But the reality is that not everyone has, bottomless reserves of green stuff, and they don't want to waste it. So the recommendation that I made to him was that if he wants to know what green stuff feels like, Silly Putty, children's Silly Putty, is pretty close. That it has the same kind of, I don't know if this is vulcanized, what this is called, but kind of like rubberized texture as green stuff. Because if you take green stuff and you stretch it, it goes like this. Whereas if you take epoxy sculpt and you stretch it, it doesn't go quite like that. It kind of crumbles apart. Well, actually, I've got it right here. This is shitty epoxy sculpt, but it kind of goes like that. It doesn't stretch. So that's like one of the main texture differences between green stuff and epoxy sculpt. So if you're a nerd and you want to practice with green stuff and see what you could do with it, you can use Silly Putty. I wouldn't recommend putting it on the models because I feel like it might leave some kind of residue behind. But I just have this thing because it's a good fidget toy. I just keep it around and I play with it. But while I'm playing with it, I do weird things. I shove it in this thing, and then I try to mess around and make a swirl pattern. And then I'm like, oh, that actually looks kind of cool. And swirl it out this way and swirl it out this way. And I've actually kind of gotten ideas about things I could do with green stuff with this. The only downside with it is that if you're trying, you can mess around with it a bit to get an idea of what green stuff feels like. It's not as sticky as green stuff is. If this was green stuff, it would be all over my hands like crazy. But you could try sculpting stuff and kind of see what it looks like, put it on armature. But Silly Putty sags very quickly. Green stuff sags as well, more slowly. So that's something to be aware of. But anyway, if you want to mess around with something that is vaguely green stuff related, you can use Silly Putty. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use that to give you another hot tip, which is, as we talked about in other videos, fuck Green Stuff World. Don't buy shit from Green Stuff World. They're not cool. They got shitty business practices, and they are adversarial towards hobbyists. So don't buy crap from them. Go somewhere else. And people are like, oh my god, but Green Stuff World, oh, what am I going to do for a tentacle roller? Guess what? You've already got a tentacle roller sitting in your house. And it's called a comb. Now, this isn't ideal for tentacle rolling, but it can use. Vince Ventura uses Silly Putty as a masker when airbrushing. That's really smart, and I should try that. So, all a tentacle roller is a bunch of raised sections with low sections in between, which is what this comb is. And we got some thick ones here, and we got some, or like some widely spaced ones here, and we got some thinly spaced ones here. And I bet you that if you were to go to a pet shop, you can get ones that are even more thinly spaced than this. Does this need to be closer? Is that why it's out of focus? Anyway, so what you want to do is you want to find a comb that has really thinly spaced teeth, because what you do is you take your green stuff. Now this is not perfect. Oh God, vacuum your workspace. This is not perfect, but this is close enough to what you're going to do, because when you want to make a tentacle, you take your line of green stuff and you roll it on the bars of the tentacle roller, and it puts lines in it. So you can do that with a comb too. So you take this and you roll it on here and you pull it off, and look at that. It's got kind of tentacly ribs in it. This is not ideal because these are so widely spaced. This would be a really big one, and it gets like weird square bits. It's also the case that ideally you want two combs, top and bottom, so you can roll it between them without getting your fingers on it. Because if you do this, you're probably going to wind up with fingerprints somewhere. But if you get fingerprints here, who cares? Like, just put it on the model like this and have the bumpy part showing up and the fingerprints down. So that's kind of a shitty example, but it works way better on here. So check this out. Lice comb, great for tentacles. Good recommendation, Kajan. So maybe you go to an art store, you get a lice comb. Or, oh, a lice comb. That's for children. You just have to go somewhere where they sell lice combs for children. Having no children, I don't know where to get those, but apparently they're around. So there you go. That's the other side of the comb. And you can see that's a much better kind of like segmented look to it. And again, it's not on the full thing, but you can get pretty close. This is not going to line up very well. But you can kind of like roll it around the whole piece. Get close. And get it to the point where you just hide that on the model. You have this, well, I got some weird shit going on there that I like. But anyway, so if you were to get a comb that was slightly longer, the longer teeth would help you. And if you were to get two combs, you could roll it top and bottom to get this on both sides. But that is how you do cheap tentacle rollers with dollar store materials. Go out and get a comb. And then what you can do is, once you roll these tentacles, this is a trick that Hydra taught me. I'll do a smaller one. So get your old paintbrushes or like tubes of plastic art or something like that, and you can like glue them onto a surface. And then you roll out your tentacles on your newfangled dollar store tentacle roller. And then you want to get a shape in it, so you kind of like bend a shape. And then what you can do is you can drape it over something like this to get a little more 3-dimension into it. Because if you just put it on a flat surface, it's going to be flat. But if you like put your green stuff tentacle like over, now your green stuff is going to stick to that. So that's why I think I used an old pen and I taped it to a CD, and I just use it as like a tentacle shaper. So you do this to get the ribs, and then you drape it over this, and then it'll cure. This is not going to work very well with that kind of like curve in it. Anyway, so that's your Paul's face on the other end, that fat worm. I don't do faces. Anyway, so that's your cheap tricks for today. Cheap trick number 1, silly putty is a good stand-in for green stuff. If you want to get an idea for how it feels, it's just the silly putty's softer than green stuff and a little more stretchy. And cheap trick 2, you can also use this to mask when airbrushing. Smart move. Cheap trick 2, get a comb to be your tentacle roller. There you go. Okay, let's get this out of here because it'll distract me. All right, now sculpting mode. Let's see what people are saying. I heard somewhere that you can lubricate the shapers with a tiny amount of Vaseline to reduce grip if you want it. Okay, fair day. I guess I'll get into this as I start mixing stuff up, but I do not use Vaseline. I use Nivea for my lubrication because I've heard that with Vaseline you have to wash it off after. I don't like that. With Nivea, you do not have to wash it off. Oh my God, are you serious? You don't have to wash it off? You do not have to wash it off. Oh, but are you sure it's Nivea? It's a cream. It's got oil in it. You do not have to wash it off. Are you sure? Are you really sure? Because, like, I'm going to put acrylic paint on this after, and I'm really worried I need to wash that Nivea off. You do not have to wash off Nivea. This is, like, the #1 question that I get from people. I have sculpted things. I've primed them, like, the next day. I have painted them almost right away, and you do not have to wash them. Nivea is amazing for that. Oh, frig, why is it? Oh, you know what? Is this bright? Because no, I don't think that helps. Barely. So, sculpting. Oh, wait, I was answering questions. I am the worst. Fuck. Why do you put up with me? So yes, if you're lubricating your shapers, use Nivea. You only need a little bit of it, but use Nivea. I'm about to show you how that works. Yeah, Kajan sculpting big creatures is really good because you can use your fingers to push the putty around, and it's a little more forgiving. No, it would leave residue. Hurt people use it for masking while airbrushing. Okay, generous. Oh, Andrew, if you can print a tentacle roller, it might work better than this comb solution, but if you've got combs, try them first. Yeah, in case you missed it on another video, maybe I should just do this on every video. Green Stuff World, not great. They're kind of jerk faces. And they also have really aggressive business practices in Spain that make it so basically no one else can get green stuff other than Games Workshop because they already have it. So I've got friends who live in Spain, and they can't buy green stuff because Green Stuff World is the only game in town. Not great. Any drugstore that has makeup should have superfine combs. Okay, that's good to know. Combs from Amazon, sure. Is Nivea gradually absorbed into the surface of the putty? I don't know, but if it does, it doesn't damage it. Yeah, that's Kajan, you're right. Nivea is water-based. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it just evaporates. Yes, Andrew, you're right that Green Stuff World is rather expensive. But a lot of people order from them because they just can't get it anywhere else. But I don't know, like, people in the UK were, like, complaining about, oh, there's no other options. I have to buy from Green Stuff World. So I, like, looked into it, and I found this place called SYL Creatives or something like that. And I looked into them, and I got, I don't know, it looked okay to me. And then a friend in the UK went to order green stuff from them, and apparently their shipping rate was something like £6, which is like $12, $13 Canadian, which is just, you know, shipping. But apparently in the UK, that's a lot of money. So I don't know what to tell you. Maybe this person's just fancy and they want stuff shipped to them for $0, but there is a place in the UK called SYL Creative. I've never used them, but if you're looking for an alternative to Green Stuff World, they might be an alternative. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to do some sculpting. Enough chin wagging. So what I do is I start off with some green stuff. Buy this in tubes if you can get it. If you have to get it in ribbons, cut the ribbons apart. Put the blue in one container and the yellow in another container. You can see here, this was a ribbon, actually from Green Stuff World. This is a ribbon I bought before I knew they were shysters, and they sold it to me as a separate ribbon. And then I got the package, and it showed up, and sure enough, there was a gap between the yellow and the blue. But as you can see here, the yellow and the blue is touching. And I emailed their customer service department to be like, yo, guys, you sold me this, but this is touching anyway, and now it started to react. It's turning green. And they never replied to me. So, fuck those guys. All right. But yeah, keep green and blue separate. Don't store them together in a ribbon. It will not do good things for you because they will start reacting. When you're mixing green stuff, we talk about this every time, more yellow than blue. If you look carefully in a package, they give you more yellow than blue. I was mixing them 1-to-1 for a long time and did not realize and wondered why I always wound up with way more yellow than I had blue. It's because you don't actually need 1-to-1. You need about 60% yellow to 40% blue. Maybe a little bit more blue. I still haven't gotten this right, but that's tip 1 about green stuff. Tip 2, green stuff is friggin' sticky. So when you're working with green stuff, if you're touching it with your hands, make sure you wet your hands with some water so it doesn't stick to you. Better yet, you can use gloves, but I'm fancy and gloves bother me. Not physically, just, you know, emotionally they bother me. So yeah, that's my green stuff, but anyone who's been around the block knows that I don't ever use pure green stuff. I always mix it with Epoxy Sculpt because it makes the green stuff softer and a little more easy to work with. And it also extends the green stuff because Epoxy Sculpt is a lot cheaper than green stuff. So you mix some in with your green stuff and you're going to get more mileage in terms of more physical putty to work with without losing any of the properties of the green stuff and just introducing some really nice properties of the Epoxy Sculpt. Epoxy Sculpt it's spelled with an A, A-P-O-X-I-E, Epoxy Sculpt, but it is epoxy putty, E-P-O-X-Y, just like green stuff. So the two are compatible. So what we do is when we have the correct amount of the epoxy sculpt and the green stuff, we mix it all together to make my patented material known as epoxy green. Got little gnats in here, so you might be seeing those, I don't know. Okay, so once you got that, wet your hands again, because the epoxy sculpt gives off like a kind of fluid, slip, something or other. So mix that up. Okay, let's see what people are talking about. $12 is a lot of money for shipping in Europe. Yeah, well, Kajan, maybe you guys should move to Canada. It's expensive to ship no matter where you come from here. And if you're getting a bunch of green stuff and it's going to last you for a while, maybe you just eat the $12 shipping. If it gets what you need. The only thing I'd want is their little leaf presser, but I'm convinced I can find cheap ways to turn leaves and scale leaves. Oh, Andrew, yeah, is that thing where they got a hole punch that makes leaves? Convenient, but I'm sure there's another way to do it. Does Epoxy Sculpt come in less than 1 pound? Epoxy Sculpt does come in less than 1 pound. You can get it in... Where the hell are they? Oh, you can get it in these containers. 2 ounces. I don't know pounds. What's 2 ounces? So it's 56 grams per container. And you can get Epoxy Sculpt in these. It comes in like a blister pack with them like stacked like this. Or maybe they're stacked like this. So yeah, you can get them in this size. But... getting a pound of Epoxy Sculpt is not bad. Like this is, when you buy a pound of Epoxy Sculpt, this is the, oh shit, this is the containers it comes in. And that's not that much Epoxy Sculpt. And this stuff is so useful, and you can use it for terrain, you can use it for filling, you can use it for gap filling. So, and it's not that expensive. Like if you're buying it from the States, well, to buy it in Canada, to get this much Epoxy Sculpt is about $26 Canadian. So I'm assuming that's like $20 US. And that's a lot of putty for $20, man. Like this is like 2 to 3 times the amount of green stuff you would get for the same amount. So buying a pound of Epoxy Sculpt, it'll be gone before you know it, because you're just going to want to use it everywhere, because it's really good to use everywhere. But yeah, if you want to buy it smaller, you can buy it in this, which is like, I think, a 1/4 pound or something. I don't know how your crazy imperial crap works. 10% polymer. The polymer clay cure value. Yes, Kajan, you're right that you can add about 10% Fimo to green stuff, and the green stuff will make it cure. However, that's finicky, and if you add more than the supposed amount of Fimo polymer clay, it will really screw up your green stuff. Like your green stuff will not set. It's also the case that for a long time, Hydro was telling me to add Fimo Soft to my green stuff because he said it like helped. But I didn't really see that much difference, and especially mixing it with Epoxy Sculpt. Oh yeah, if you want to know how to spell epoxy, that's how you spell it. It's made by Aves in the US. Easy to get in the US, easy to get in Canada, harder to get elsewhere. By mixing epoxy with green stuff, you get the softening that supposed polymer clays like Fimo gave, but it doesn't mess with your green stuff. It's going to cure just fine. And you can get a pile of epoxy for the price that you'd pay for Fimo. And I think it's a little more useful. Because you can sculpt with Epoxy Sculpt on its own. You don't need to mix it with green stuff. I just like the way they combine. 1,000 folds of the katana blade forging. Yeah. I like you, Faraday. Yes, this is the 1,000 folds of the katana blade. Folding together the green stuff. So, I've made this much epoxy green, but I don't need this much epoxy green. So what am I going to do with it? I'm going to put it in the freezer. Because freezers slow down the curing process of green stuff. And I have some crap in the freezer that I forgot to put in right away. So I'm going to throw that out and put it in place with this stuff. So for people who have been on these videos before and have watched me do this before and are like, yeah, okay, this is the same thing you do every time. Why are you narrating it? I swear to God that every time I make one of these videos, the next week someone asks me a question that I covered in the video, and I'm like, okay, clearly people are not watching these things, so I'm going to keep repeating this stuff in case people have not heard it before. So one thing you've heard me say 1,000 times is that you should store your green stuff in the freezer when you're not using it, because you can make your green stuff last for at least a day if you got a shitty little bar freezer like me, but likely longer. If you've got a good freezer, your green stuff can stay fresh for 2 to 3 days. But as soon as you mix it, keep the stuff out that you're going to use, take the rest and put it in the freezer immediately. If you have a container like this, I usually put it in with the lid off so that the cold gets right in there, so that there's no like insulation of warm air in here. And then afterwards you can pop the lid on. But it doesn't matter, you can leave it open. But your family might wonder what the hell's going on. And if you tip this out, you'll spill it all over the floor, which I did the other day. So yeah, put the rest of your excess green stuff in the freezer, and it'll serve you for at least a day, maybe 2 to 3. Oh, you fucking serious? Goddamn freezer. Okay, any questions so far about the katana folding process? What are people saying? But sold as tester. Please let me move to Canada. I don't want to be in the US anymore. Andrew, nobody wants to be in the US anymore. In fact, Andrew, you know what? I don't even want to be in Canada. I'm worried about how close this is. All the garbage going on. And like, we're not perfect. We got problems in Canada too, but doesn't seem to be as bad as in the United States right now. So sorry, buddy. Yeah, the epoxy sculpt, I use it on its own. So like, what can I show you? So you can use epoxy sculpt to do shit like this, or shit like this, or shit like this. This is actually epoxy clay, but I work large scale, so I have a number of things that I can do with epoxy sculpt. I don't just mix it in to make my green stuff go further, but that's a good use for it. So I don't think you can have too much epoxy. And like, really, if you're like building bases, or like filling gaps in bases, or like filling gaps in models, you can use epoxy for all that stuff. It's not only useful for mixing with green stuff, you can use it on its own, absolutely. Okay. Kajan, you try experimenting with Fimo. I never saw any difference, man. Listicle videos. Andrew, bruh, I have done listicle videos, sort of. And yeah, but yeah, I like having these videos be useful for people because I spend a lot of them just bullshitting. So if I can tell you about how to mix green stuff, maybe I hammer it into the heads of people who've heard it before. And I certainly have done 1 to 3 minute videos. They're on my channel. Yo, Andrew, bro, just hit my backlinks. Yo, Forest Sprite, what up? I was waiting for you. I got some Macallan here. That was a gift from my boss, and it smells divine. I'll hit you up with some on the weekend if we can find a way to do it in a socially distanced way. She got me scotch for my birthday present. I'm like, you don't have to get me a birthday present, and you got me scotch. You're the best boss ever. I'm curious about what you are using to take the video with. Okay, so Faraday, I'm using a webcam right now. It's like the Logitech whatever 922. It was really hard to get. I got it because like I'm working from home now, but then I was like, maybe I can do streaming on that, and it works pretty well. Don't think about these settings. I'm actually on a different sign-in, so I don't have my normal settings right now, and I was going to be late for this if I went and pulled up my normal settings. So it's not normally this shit. What the fuck was that? That was weird. I think aliens just landed. I don't know if you heard that, but so yeah, this webcam is very good, and I got a program called, I think it's just literally called Webcam Settings for my Mac, and it lets you choose like manual focus, all that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend it. It costs money. The Webcam Settings app was like $10, but definitely use it. Definitely worth it. And this Logitech webcam is really good, although I had a hard time getting it because it's the one that Wirecutter recommends. So I think they recommend the 920, and I had to get the 922, which is like a little better, but it was like back ordered forever. So it might be easier to get now, but who knows? Yeah, and the way that I set up the webcam is that I just mount it. I wonder if I can do this. I'm going to regret this. I take the webcam, and I got this GorillaPod thing, and I mount the GorillaPod on my light, which has got an arm on it. So I just mount it on the light and hang it down, and it allows for the hands-free. But even before this, I just had my this GorillaPod thing that I wrap around the light is really useful, and I could just put my cell phone in it, and like a cell phone holder, which are my earlier stream videos, which are not good. Okay, let's see, what have I done here? Help me, OBS, you're my only hope. Yeah, and then I've got the Logitech camera has this kind of arm thing on it that lets you bend it all different ways. But it's got a tripod thread on it, so I just thread it onto the GorillaPod. Get this out of here. Too bright. What other questions do we have? Have you used green stuff in Milliput? Rad Dog, I did use green stuff in Milliput. However, it when I did it, I found that the Milliput made the green stuff set faster. In general, when I use Milliput, I'm not happy with how quickly it sets. I'm talking about the Milliput yellow gray. Milliput Superfine White seems to set at a similar pace to green stuff, but it's very unforgiving. So I tried Milliput and green stuff. I should probably try it again, but I really didn't like it. I generally don't like Milliput. There's something weird about the texture, and I feel like the work time of it is shorter than green stuff or Epoxy Sculpt. Simon, don't diss the planet, man. It feels bad because you're in Texas, but things are good up here in Canada. Like, as good as can be expected. But that's mostly because like our government took COVID seriously and put in restrictions, and people actually followed them. And the kind of people up here who are like, I don't want to wear a mask, they're few and far between. So it works. Like, if you listen and you do, and you put other people ahead of yourself, shit just works. But yeah, don't judge the planet based on Texas, because I don't know, man. There's some stuff that the States could be doing better. And if you get out of the States, maybe it's a better planet. Yeah, so Faraday, this webcam wouldn't work nearly as well if I didn't have the Webcam Settings app. That's key because it would be on autofocus and it would be focusing all over the place. But with the Webcam Settings app, you can save different settings. So for example, this is my like sculpting general setting. And then this is, I just go here and I go here, and this is my sculpting macro setting. So I can get in here and show you like cool stuff. I've got even better settings on my other login, but as we said, I don't have that right now. So that's a property of Webcam Settings, which is really useful. If you're considering streaming, I would recommend it. So I'll go back to normal. There you go, focus is good. And you can change all the settings. You can change like the exposure and everything, the focus, when you change between one and the other. Oh, thanks, Kajan. Happy birthday. I'm slow on this. I'm like getting lost in comments. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Mango flavored beer, Blitz Mechanica. That sounds like fun. Oh yeah, Andrew. I guess you're not allowed to leave the States. I don't know how that works, man. You can. I think you can fly to Canada, but you need to quarantine for 2 weeks. Yeah, but you can't go overland. I know that. That's all shut down. Andrew, if you're moving home with your parents, you lost your job, that sucks. At least you have the Plastic Men to save your sanity. I swear to God, one of the best projects I ever created was when I was unemployed. I was unemployed for a while, and I was doing like gigs on the side, and that's when I made my Gene Stealer cult. That can be some crazy inspiration if you actually take the time and you just like dedicate it to working on models. So try that. Maybe that'll save you from the madness of being in the basement. Hello, Colin Duffy. Welcome. Was it a lambic? Are you talking about the Scotch? What does lambic even mean? Painting and sculpting 10 times better. Sounds like you're winning, buddy. Okay, maybe I should actually sculpt something. So we've got our green stuff mixed up. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this thing. So, where is it? Earlier today, this leg looked like this leg. Oh God, why is it so fucking bright? 1 second, let me try and fix this. Come on, baby. Why are you so bright? Patience. I'll fix it. Oh, this is not getting good. Nope, nope, nope. That was too dark. Let's try this. That is slightly better. Nope, 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 nope. Let's try this. It's a little darker, but at least now you can see detail that isn't, that's like white. So, got too many windows open. I thought I just saw one of the weirs. I guess not. Blah, blah, blah. Lambic beer is often fermented on fruit. Oh, the mango beer. Okay, I've heard of this lambic thing, but I don't really know what it's about. Okay, so now you can kind of see it more better. So earlier today, this leg looked like this leg, and then I added in this green stuff here, and I added in that ribbing, and I kind of fleshed out the bottom of that, although the bottom of this one is a little better. And added the like stuff on here. So, and added this kind of window around that thing. So maybe I'm going to do that now. Let's see. So I'm going to start with the vascular. Oh God, my hands are sticky with green stuff. Keep your hands wet while working with green stuff. It'll make you happier. But don't make them too wet, because then your green stuff will get wet and it won't stick to anything. So I'm going to fill in this vascular window that I left here with some ribbing. Okay, and when I'm sculpting, in case you've missed this in other videos, my favorite tools are this spoon tool, metal, this knife tool, used to be the Games Workshop sculpting tool, but you can get it from all kinds of places, and this completely unavailable outside of Germany, silicone shaper, bullet shaped. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get it for you guys. I'm literally talking to suppliers. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you're not above paying $10 to ship from Canada, because I might get them for you. However, if you don't have access to this, this can work too. It's not great, but silicone shapers are really helpful. This can also do kind of similar business work to the bullet tool. It's got a cup. So I keep trying to use these like widely available silicone tools to save all of you who don't have the weird bullet thing that I have. So let's try this. So see, I'm putting some Nivea on the back of my hand. And I'm just putting a little bit on this, like a film, like a thin film. It's not white, it's just like a layer of oil on it. So let's get this in here. Oh my God, I may have chosen the right amount of green stuff. Oh no, it looks like I have slightly too much. Let's get some of that out. Oh, that might be too much. This is only an issue because I pre-sculpted the window that I'm putting it in. Usually what I would do is I'd sculpt this kind of detail first and then build the window around it, which is what I did here. And then you can use the window to constrain your ribbing. But when you're trying to fill it, you got to get the amount of green stuff right so that it fits within the window and doesn't flow beyond it. Tyranid problems. Get out of here. Scram. So that's close. You want it to kind of bulge in the middle and then kind of run down on the sides into the window, crevice, whatever. So it's got kind of like a tubular shape where the highest point is in the middle there, like along there. I think I never did a video about sculpting Tyranid vascular tissue. That's a fail, although it's pretty straightforward. But it's really all I've been doing in these videos. So, whatever, Trevor. Oh, you can do it with this tool. See? This tool is helpful. And then I think you can do this. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's where the little, like, I can't know if you can see that. There's like a valley in here that I'm just running over this, and it's making it nice and smooth. I can use the edges to go along here. I think I'm learning how to use this tool. I have all these silicone shapers I never use because I'm just so happy with the one that I always use. So every so often I have to teach myself how to use the other ones. Okay, are you guys still talking about mango beer? What are you guys talking about? Okay. My sanity just disappeared. We're talking about beer. No, it wasn't craft beer. Jam up the mash. I'm experimenting with doing the internal ribbing structure in Tyranid libs. What's your method? Well, Colin, you're about to see my method. My method is that I sculpt the internal ribbing first. Do I have anything that I haven't? I don't think I have it. So what I would do is I'd sculpt this part first, and then I'd sculpt the window around it. I don't know that I have something like that where it's exposed. Like, that's what I did. If you go back and look at my old streams, that's what I did for all of this, where I sculpted the ribbing first, and then I defined the window around it. That's the easier way to do it. What I'm doing now is, like, you can still do it this way, but it's a little more complicated. So yeah, like, do all this ribbing, and then you can like, what I did is I did this ribbing all the way down, but I kind of, like, did a kind of divot in here to kind of ballpark where I wanted the flesh to come over top. And then you put the flesh over top to define the shape of the window, because it's a lot easier to do that than to, like, sculpt in a void and then put the ribbing inside, which is what I'm doing here. Again, doable, but easier ways to sculpt it first. This one, I was going to put flesh here, but I just thought it looked bad, so I just had it all the way across and then define the window around it. Okay, so once you got to this point and you got it all nicely smooth and kind of like a tubular structure, it's not happy down here. Andrew and Simon, you're not those Americans who think that, like, universal basic free healthcare is communism, are you? Because if you are, don't come to Canada, man, because we're all about that. I was never more shocked than when I went to the United States, met up with some fellow hobbyists, and they told me about their amazing medical service, private healthcare that they pay something like $900 a month for. And then when they have to go get something done with their kidney or whatever, they have to pay like $2,600 down, even though they've got this amazing healthcare. I'm like, that's not amazing, man. So yeah, Colin, I'm going to show you how to do the ribbon in just a second. I'm going to catch up on some comments. Oh, the bone-colored stuff is Andrew, the bone-colored stuff is Abe's epoxy clay. It's not actually epoxy sculpt. So it's a slightly stronger version of Abe's epoxy sculpt that is called clay, because it's closer to kind of like ceramic clay. Oh my god, there are so many comments in here. What the hell? So yeah, this bone-colored stuff is not epoxy sculpt. You guys got it wrong. It is epoxy clay. It's slightly darker than epoxy sculpt. I don't think I have any pure epoxy sculpt to compare it to. But epoxy sculpt is like a lighter yellower color. After I messaged you on Insta, I drove to every art store and they only have the white ones or expensive white ones. Literally can't find your fancy Canadian shapers. Andrew, my shapers are not Canadian. Well, I have some Canadian ones, but the good one is German. Ribbing on it like a finger. I don't have that silicone cup problem, Colin. I don't know why yours has ribbing on it like a fingerprint. That's really weird. I've never seen that before. Oh, Deerhoof. Kajan, that's a good name for the silicone cup. Sometimes the silicone tip things are called color shapers. They are color shapers, yes. Totally looked at this. Okay, I've been playing with the silicone shaper. It's like a wedge tip, and the other bit's like a cup curve thing. Yeah, I got a wedge tip here. That's my other favorite silicone shaper, because you can like flatten stuff, and then you can use the end of the wedge tip like a knife. There's also this one. Is this what you're talking about? Where it's like a knife blade kind of, and then here it's like flat. So that's that one. So when you buy a wallet, I just went and splurged on a wallet for myself because I'm fancy. Oh shit, which one's missing? Oh, that weird one I never use. If you want to go all in on silicone shapers, how is it? Oh, there it is. You can buy a wallet. They're not cheap. So these are size 2, which is kind of like a large size for miniature sculpting. What I usually use is size 0, which looks like this. There you go. That's a size 0 and a size 2. So a smaller one's 0, big one's 2. If you buy a wallet of 5, it's size 2. This cost me 69 bucks Canadian. And it doesn't matter. These ones are the semi-hard ones. I also got a wallet of the soft ones because I was buying them piecemeal. And if you buy a wallet at the store where I buy them, you get basically one shaper for free because these things are like, I don't know, 20 bucks, no, 15 bucks each, something like that. But if you go up in size, like the next size up, which is quite a bit larger and not really that useful for model sculpting, is 90 bucks. So if you were to buy this wallet size, I think it's like 30 bucks or maybe 40 bucks for 5 of these. And then you get the conical one, which is useful. The flat one, which is super useful. This one, which acts like a knife kind of. It can be useful. This cup one, which I'm learning to find the use for. Deer hoof, apparently. And this fucking thing that I don't know what to do with. It's got like a curve here and then like a thing here. I'm sure this is exactly the tool I'm using. Oh, you know what? That might be cool for what I'm doing right now. You don't need all these silicone shapers. I went for years with just using this and maybe one of these, but I just got fancy and figure I sculpt enough, so I should have some more tools. Okay, go away. You're not even in there, are you? You bastard. So let's get that weird one. Let's lube her up. So this is like the more solid version because it's the darker gray. This actually would be really useful for doing shit like this. Oh my god, it's a vascular window sculptor shaper. That's what it does. This is fucking convenient. Okay, so once you got that shape, sorry, Colin has been asking about this, so let's just do it. It's very straightforward now, Colin. You take a knife tool. Actually, no, it's too much trouble. And then you just start at the edges. I usually make the sections smaller and closer together. Oh shit, I fucked up. Oh, well, I'm gonna leave it. And then as you get closer to the middle of the window, space them out a bit and make the sections a little larger. And then as you get towards, oh no, I've started a little too early. As you get towards the other end, start making them a little smaller and a little closer together again. This is not a very good example, but this is a thigh on a model that no one's going to look at, so I'm just going to leave it. So you do it one way, and then if you notice, they're well cut here, but here they're not actually cut. So what I usually do is I flip it around. This is finicky, and when you get old, this is hard. I'm starting to get old. You line up with the same cuts, and you just do the other side. Again, when you do it the way that I initially suggested you do it, where you sculpt this thing first and then you build the window around it, this is super easy because you just like cut the thing, and then if it's not fully sculpted all the way across, you just cover that up when you're defining the window. But this way, you got to get it right. Oh god. I need more light. That's really bright. God damn it. I'm losing my edge. So you just got to line up with those lines that you did before. Actually, this is going pretty well. Famous last words. Haven't I done this on a video before? I feel like I've done this on a video before. But maybe I've not done this on a video before. Wouldn't that be a thing? Okay, I fucked up there. Let's pretend we didn't notice. Better! Okay, that's pretty much done. You can obsess and try and clean up this shit in the middle that I screwed up, but I wouldn't. Because invariably, you're going to screw it up even worse. Job's a good one. Oh, fuck that one. It's pissing me off. Fine, leave it. Okay, so that's that. Questions, Colin? Makes sense? Ta-da! Where's the focus? There's the focus. Got my silicone shaper at a Blick art store if anyone is looking for them. I don't know what Blick is. There's all kinds of silicone shapers on eBay, but they're not good. Like, yeah, mine are Royal Sovereign brand silicone shapers. They're the expensive ones. You can get all kinds of cheap silicone shapers on eBay, but you're gonna get eBay quality. Like, most of them are gonna come from China, and they're not gonna be great. I've tried to buy a bunch of silicone shapers on eBay because I want to be able to give them away to people if I can find like a good set that's cheap. But I found a lot of sets that are cheap. I haven't found a good set that's cheap. Sometimes they're called clay shapers, sometimes they're called color shapers. Most likely I've seen silicone shapers called color shapers. That's the brand name that the Royal Sovereign ones are, I think. Hobby Lobby, good place. Okay, let's see. Yep, some people call them silicone rubber tip brush because they don't really know what they're getting at. But most likely they're called silicone color shapers. Oh God, Andrew, you live in California and lived in Europe? God, well, at least you're in California. Like, isn't it slightly better there other than the fires? Red tide is coming through. Oh, don't talk about red tide. What most Canadians don't tell you is if you move there, you can't get healthcare right away. There's a waiting period. Yeah, you can't just like move to Canada and get OHIP. I think there's like, or healthcare. I think there's like some ways you can do it, and if you have an employer, you can like get it faster. I don't know. Yeah, communism definitely won't happen in the US because the people in the US are fucking afraid of communism like I've never seen in my life. You're literally like, hey, can I pay that medical bill for you? And they're like, communism, get it out of here! I'm like, oh God, buddies, come on. Your life could be so much better. But like even socialism, like low-level socialism, people like communism. Sculpt around wire. Yes, Andrew, I sculpt around wire. I've got a video about sculpting. Yo, Andrew, man, just check my backlinks, bro. I got a video about sculpting with armatures. It's all about sculpting wire. Sculpting around wire is a pain in the ass. What I recommend is you do wire and then you put some aluminum foil around it so that there's something for the putty to actually stick to, because otherwise the putty will just slip around the wire. This is not sculpted around a wire. Well, it kind of is. This was like an arm piece from a Turbogon, and then I think I just built this up with pure epoxy clay. I don't think I actually sculpted that around a wire. Do I have anything I sculpted around a wire? I hate sculpting around wires because, like I just said, stuff shifts around. So what you got to do is you got to do like a rough armature and then sculpt on top of the rough armature. Here's something that I was just messing with when I sculpted on wire. But even then, you can see here there's some aluminum foil there. I took a wire coat hanger and I covered it in aluminum foil, wrapped tightly. You can see some sticking out there. And then I put, this is like a armature of Epoxy Fix-It to make that aluminum foil solid. And then I sculpted on that. Because if you just go on the wire, it's going to like slip off it. It's going to drive you crazy. And I don't know what this is. One day maybe I'll make something out of it. It'll probably be an Ava. Everything's an Ava. So we're not going to be a country. Yeah, I'm worried about America in the next 5 years. Even if like Trump gets kicked out and Biden manages to get elected, I don't know what's going on, man. Blackheart Sculpting, the Biggity Bomb. Andrew, what is your Instagram handle? Because I feel like I should know it. Oh God, there's so many messages that I haven't read yet. Might enjoy doing an Iron Chef sculpting project restricted to mostly using one or two of the tools you hardly ever use. Faraday, that's a really good idea to force me to use tools I don't normally use, but I'm too lazy. But yeah, that's a really good idea. I do that with photography, where you like force yourself to do everything with a 50mm lens and then you learn stuff. Yes, so silicone shapers I use are Royal Sovereign. Royal Sovereign Limited UK. Color shaper. Spelled the British way. Royal Sovereign. The ones you want are probably 0s or 2s. There you go. Travel to Canada from US requires necessary non-discretionary reasons to travel. Shit, I didn't know that, Gabriel. Thanks for letting me know. So, wow, you guys can't come to Canada. Dang. Well, that's because we're worried about you bringing us the COVID. That's the one thing I was talking about. Do you need to wash the parts before painting? Jay, where were you a second ago, man? Frig. Everyone asked me this question. So normal. You do not need to wash parts after you sculpt on them and use Nivea to lubricate your tools. As Kajan pointed out, it's water-based, it evaporates, it might leave a powder on them. I've primed stuff the day after I sculpted it, it's fine. You do not need to wash them. You do not need to wash them. Oh, Kajan already answered this. How you sculpt after work? I'm trying to work on stuff. My arms are shaking like crazy. Jacob, you might have a much more strenuous job than I do. My work is sitting at a computer and typing all day, so my arms are just fine, buddy. How do you do crazy little masks and teeth like Blackheart sculpting? You're a god. Blackheart sculpting is a god. I don't know how he does it. That was a hot tip about inventing the place. Yeah, Colin, the easiest way to sculpt these things is to put them in and then put the flesh around them. Jay, I don't think I need the extra firm set of clay shapers. Or color shapers. I bought a couple of them and I'm not happy with them and I never use them. I'm gonna hide that comment about California being butt because I don't agree. What the fuck? Also on the virus in California, if you lived by Orange County, we had literal riots of racist Nazi surfers. How the hell is there a racist Nazi surfer? Aren't surfers supposed to be like chill and not Nazis? I don't understand how this works. God, I'm so far behind. Sorry, guys. Oh, Forest Sprite, I hope you're still here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Forest Sprite has a partner who came to Canada from America. So there's your answer. Once you have your PR card, permanent residency, it's 3 months before you can get OHIP. So get a job in Canada, get permanent resident, and then you can get healthcare. I think we still have private healthcare if you're not a Canadian citizen yet, but you don't have to be a citizen to get healthcare. You just have to be permanent resident, which is not full citizenship. Andrew, keeping your grandma alive is a good way to go. I'm trying to keep my dad alive. He's grandma age. Oh my god. So much stuff. First 2 sculptures I ever tried to make, I did them on top of quarter coins, which they fused to. Can't you, like, scrape them off, Faraday? You have pins and wires sticking all out of that thing on every possible angle. It's hard to say you're not sculpting around a wire. So, Kajan, the pins sticking out of this thing are pins that I put in after. I drilled that in after I had sculpted the leg to be able to pin it into the next bit. And as you just witnessed on this video, we got a pin here that I used to like hold on to it, but these pins I put in after because I realized I needed them. And I'm not sculpting on this pin. This pin is actually it's holding together this arm. Oh shit, am I even on here? This arm and the other arm that I put right here that I definitely needed and sculpted entirely over. So that's what this one is. Also, that's going to go on the base. So I usually pin after the fact. I don't usually sculpt on wire. It pisses me off. Oh, Mistmorn. Mistmorn. Who the heck is Mistmorn? I'm going to have to look that up. Oh man, 10 out of 7. If you guys don't follow 10 out of 7, all words, 10 out of 7 on Instagram, get on it. Mistmorn. Okay, gotcha, man. I know who you are. All right, Andrew, I'm following back. Better do some friggin' Warhammer. Oh, I see some Warhammer. Okay, cool. What were we messaging about? This is riveting stuff, I know. Okay. What's going on? I don't have much on here, just a bit of painting, trying to step my sculpting up. God, there's so much messages. What's your opinion on the Necron Phase Blades contrast tutorial? Is it a fad or better than glazing? Friendly Hive Tyrant, you need to not ask me about painting, man. This is what I do. Sculpting. I sculpt. I never paint. I think the Phase Blades are boring models, and I'm trying to make my own. See, I got this guy that I started on. Oh, look. The Phase Blades. They're gone. Because I'm going to give him cool kind of scorpion-looking things, because he's a Scorpec dude. So we need scorpion blades. So yeah, I don't like those blades. So I'm not going to paint them. And I don't really care. I love contrast. Like contrast, because I don't like painting. Contrast paint is my savior. It helps me actually get painting done. Oh yeah, fancy. Sorry, Forest Sprite. I actually know someone who claims to have jumped the border into Canada. Faraday, sure, no problem. Jump the border into Canada. We don't really care. Like, we do care. We got border services, but whatever, man. If they can make it in Canada, that's fine. Because we're not worried about them being MS-23 or whatever that is your crazy president talks about. Can't fly to my... Oh, God. Your wife's stuck in the U.S.? That sucks, Kajan. Aren't you in Germany? God, that's horrible. Couldn't think of a worse place to get stuck. Sorry, Americans. Whoa. You're like Jesus, but secretly a gene stealer. Bad things happen in Philadelphia. I don't know what you're talking about. Friendly Hive Torrent. I gotta get on the plastic card. Yeah, plastic card is awesome, Andrew. It's called sheet styrene. If you're having trouble finding plastic card, look for sheet styrene. I can't believe someone asked you a painting question. I paint sometimes, Jacob. I'm an okay painter. I just hate it. Here, look. Oh, we're talking about contrast. See this, buddy? Wait, where's my video? Stop me if you've seen this one before. See this guy? That guy is like 95% painted in contrast. This is not a very good video of him. But yeah. Super fun to paint with. Contrast. I love contrast. And where is it? These dudes, their skin was all done with airbrush contrast. And then I did just a bit of highlight. The green skin, the like more like yellowy green skin. And the pink bits are also contrast has been touched up a bit. The back plates are painted the old school style, but like contrast saves lives. Put that on a bumper sticker. Contrast saves lives. And like the red contrast paints, whoo, dolly. Anyway, this is a sculpting podcast or whatever, not a painting thing. So I should probably sculpt something. Get this shit out of here. Wife is American, got married while she was building business in Germany, moved back to the US in 2018. Oh God, Kajan, I think you should like house hunt in Germany. You don't want to house hunt in LA right now. Kajan, isn't there a way that you can get her back because you guys are married? Like, can't you be like, yo, this is my wife. Let me take her back. Like, God, that sucks. Although there was cases like that in Canada where near the border, people often live in one country and work in the other country, between Canada and the US. And there was situations where partners got stuck on the wrong... Oh, wait, I'm not using this tool, right? I'm going to show you how to do it with the other tool. Partners got stuck on the wrong side of the border, and they couldn't see each other for months. But I think I think Canada eased restrictions around that. But I don't know. Tante Angele. I love her. She's awesome. She's the brave world leader we need. So she's a bit smarter than the average bear. So I think maybe it's her smarter than the average bear smartness that is causing her to not let folks into Germany. But that really sucks. If my wife was in the United States and I was in Germany, I would want to get her the fuck out of... Oh, God. Did I just do that? I would want to get her the fuck out of the United States. So I wish you luck. I hope that there's a solution to that soon that allows her to return to Germany. I'm not hoping there's a solution that allows you to return to the United States, because I don't think that, as you can see from the Americans in this chat, that's not necessarily someplace you want to be right now. Okay, so I'm trying to build a kneecap here. I'm definitely going to use this tool because it's just as good as my other tool. Definitely, positively. Okay, let's get this right. Get out of here, fly. You bother me. Paint this sucker around. I'm not looking for a shape right now. I'm just looking for coverage. Oh, right. I'm sculpting on camera. Well, let's do this. Maybe I don't need as much light anymore. Ah, much better. Yeah, sorry about the cheeky comment about painting, but I really don't paint. And I really don't care about painting. I mean, I kind of care, but I mostly care about sculpting and conversions. Because I enjoy them much more than painting. I'm okay at painting. I don't love it. I don't find it relaxing. I find this relaxing. Painting can be relaxing, but I never know what color to paint things. Everything winds up being turquoise with some red, because that's my go-to palette. This looks like a lot of putty. Okay. Spoon tool, save me. So the reason I flipped to the spoon tool from the silicone shapers is that the metal gives more strength. I don't know. It's less yielding, so you can really jerk the putty around. Move it to where you need it. Also, sometimes I find it's better for like smoothing putty into other materials, but the silicone shaper is also good for that. I didn't realize that this was going to turn into like a chat about how Americans want to get out of America, but God, after last night's debate, I don't blame you, man. Like that, like, yeah, I think Trump's an asshole and he needs to get the fuck out. But like, I guess Biden had to be an asshole. You got to be an asshole to fight with an asshole. But that debate just looked like a mess. I didn't even watch it. I didn't want to. I'm of the standpoint that even though I'm in Canada and I can pretend that I'm separated from this stuff, American politics bears so much. There's consequences for Canadians when it comes to American politics, so we have to be aware of it, and like what exactly is going on. And like, Trump is not good for anyone. First of all, Trump is not great for Canada. But so yeah, we're a little bit invested in American politics up in Canada, and the issue is that the last time this happened, when everyone was sure there was no way Trump was going to be elected and Hillary Clinton was definitely going to win, and then spoilers, she lost and Trump won, and we all got to see what America is really like, who Americans really want. When that happened, the cognitive dissonance of having to reformat the idea that Trump could never win and that Hillary Clinton was definitely winning into Hillary Clinton did not win and Trump was definitely governing the country for the next 4 years, that was some crazy cognitive dissonance. And honestly, I don't want to get my hopes up this time. I'm assuming Trump's going to win, and it's going to be 4 more years of Trump, and I don't know if you guys are going to have a country when it's done, but it's going to be 4 more years of Trump. I'd rather have cognitive dissonance when Biden gets elected. I'd be like, what? Wait, he actually got elected? I'd rather have that cognitive dissonance than the cognitive dissonance that I had last time, which was that this guy's never going to get in, and then he gets 4 more years. Because that is some crazy shit. But yeah, I know COVID's a pain in the ass, but vote. Hey man, Josh is here. Josh can tell you COVID ain't no thing. He got through it. Josh is still here. He's still sculpting epic hammer pants. Tell these people that COVID ain't no thing. What are we talking about? Oh, Kajan and Andrew are talking about trading cities. Maybe you guys can just like switch places. That would be awesome. Doner kebab is so fucking good, Andrew. You know what you're talking about. Painting in such tiny details seems like it would be frustrating. Forest Sprite, the way you paint in such tiny details, you get really tiny brushes. And you get really practiced at like controlling your strokes. Well, Kajan, if your wife is about to get the whole company, then maybe she can use all her money to save you from the horrible things happening in the United States. But I don't know if it's going to work, bud. Friendly Hive Tyrant, I don't think a Catachin Devil mini is in the works after seeing the decapitated head. It would be cool, But Catchin Devil is not technically a Tyranid. I don't think it's a Tyranid. I don't know. It could be something else. I think that's a Lictor head, and I want that to be a Lictor head. Why is it holding this comment? Yeah, Kajin, good plan not telling your wife it's going to be you or the job. I don't think you're going to win, but good luck. Andrew, I don't sculpt faces if I can help it, because there's plenty of good faces on Games Workshop models. Why would I frustrate myself? I tried sculpting a face a long time ago and it didn't turn out too well, so I haven't gone back. Colin, I don't have extremely soft hands, but I have extremely soft this knuckle from all my Nivea. Predictable as heck. Most provinces have requirements based on immigration status, followed by waiting periods, usually something like 3 months. Man, Gabriel, you really looked into this. Are you Canadian? Are you American? I don't get it. What are people talking about? Oh god, there's so many messages. I need to get my brother to read these to me again. What the hell? Why are there so many messages? Are we talking about the debate? Oh god, we're talking about the debate. And there's Putin. We're not in America, but we are in the blast radius if it goes up. Colin, are you in Canada? You probably told me this last time. Sorry, buddy. I don't keep these things straight. Yeah, I'm surprised Biden kept some cool, but I love the part where Biden was like, man, can you just shut up? Like, it was so old-timey grandpa, but a little bit of edge. It was good. Oh, Hive Tyrant, you're in Australia. Yeah, or New Zealand. Oh, my God. God, there's so much comments. Okay, so apparently Josh tells us that COVID totally doesn't make you feel like you're going to die alone without air in your lungs. Okay, so maybe don't get COVID. Maybe it's not fun. Josh actually had COVID. Not cool. Oh my god, has this descended into politics? I feel like I made it happen. Jonas, you're here. Read me the fucking comments, man. I can't keep up. Write a thread right now about people who survived Corona and what their symptoms were. So Forest Sprite, if you want to know about people who survived Corona, one of them is in this thread. Joshua Ornelas is a COVID survivor. Josh, can you smell things? Size of brush doesn't matter. Oh my god. Sorry, guys. I'm scared to death of lingering lung damage. Yeah, I'm worried about lingering lung damage. That's the thing that scares me about COVID. The whole, like, lingering lung damage thing. Okay. Someone's telling Forest Sprite how to use tiny brushes to paint tiny models. Forest Sprite, I'll give you some models if you want to paint them. I got lots. Also, what? Also, yeah, don't need tiny brushes, just good sharp one. Catchin Devil has Tyranid DNA, or at least used to, if they haven't retconned it. Whole Catachin ecosystem made up of crashed Tyranid bioships. I didn't know that. Is that true? That the whole Catachin ecosystem is made up of a crashed Tyranid bioship? I wrote fluff like that once. That would be cool. I'd have way more interest in the Catachins. Oh my god, Adam's here. Hey, Adam. Good to see you, buddy. I'm not doing much sculpting. I'm mostly doing chatting. God, call him. Sorry about the Met at Young and Dundas. Lawrence Games Workshop. Apparently I'm horrible. It's because I don't have your face. I just have your little icon thing. So Josh was unable to smell or taste for 4 days when he had COVID. Jesus Christ. So let's talk about something besides politics. How about how Kroot need a new codex? I'd love to talk about, like, how Kroot need a new codex. Yeah, Kroot and Tau are completely fucked now that new heavy bolters are so strong. I would say that everyone is completely fucked now that everything has 1,000 wounds. Like, doesn't a normal Space Marine have, like, 2 or 3 wounds? And the Terminator has, like, 3 wounds? And then, like, this is why I don't play. Okay. Okay, back to sculpting. I think that was a fruitful endeavor. So, can you see that? Where's my video? Okay, you guys just talk amongst yourselves. But yeah, like every so often I'll like go on Warhammer Community and I'll like read one of the posts. And you know, the new Necron models are pretty cool. I'm like, maybe I should get a Necron Codex. Maybe I should get some more Necron models. They're Xenos. They're not Space Marines. I could do that. And then like I read about the Skarza or whatever the heck that guy's name is. The King model. His weapon is strength 12. When did we get weapons that were higher than strength 10? Like, we've been good with strength 10 for a while now, but now things can go up to strength 12. It's just fucking ridiculous. And don't those, like, big rocks that float around with him, the menhirs, don't they do, like, 9 damage? Or some shit like that? Like, I get that their weapon is literally called, like, Doomsday Beam, but that just seems a little OP, bud. Like, one of the reasons that I hate Space Marines is that I think they're boring because they have all the OP weapons. They have OP weapons and they have OP armor. And I'm used to playing stuff like Gaunts that have 6+ armor save and just die. And when I was getting into Tyranids and I could find a Gaunt with a flesh bore that was strength 4, I was like, oh my god, this is so OP. Because everything else they had was like strength 3 or something like that. So yeah, and then like Dark Eldar, well, you got toughness 3, 5+ armor save, man. Good luck. Get a couple of Incubi to guard your boss. 3+ save. Wow. Okay, that now we're cooking with gas. Yeah. So I think that I don't know. Space Marines are too OP, but maybe everything is OP now. You got strength 12 guns with damage 9. Like I feel like you only need to have damage 9 because everything has 1,000 wounds. Like why are we giving everything 1,000 wounds? I don't understand. Sorry, all Space Marines 1,000 wounds. Do the Xenos get 1,000 wounds? Maybe they get a couple more wounds? Who knows? Anyway. I don't play 40k anyway. Who cares? I just make funky models. This is friggin' ugly and I hate it. This tool is kind of useful. So if anyone's followed Siege of Petch, the whole like Crude Invasion thing, if you ever had any questions about Siege of Petch, Josh is in the chat. Josh Ornias or whatever. He is the guy who created Siege of Petch. He was the original dude who had the idea of doing a Crude Invasion of Adepticons, so you should ask him all your Crude questions. He's been doing Crude for a long time. So yeah, this is a good opportunity to chat him up. He's also funny, so chat him up if you got Crude questions. This knee is a mess. So, Colin, are you the one with the giant Tyranid army? Like that super huge, crazy ass giant Tyranid army that's like, I want to say blue and red? Like dark blue and red? And it was in the cases at Games Workshop, Young and Lawrence for a while. You may be someone of a ginger persuasion. Because I think I know who you are, but I'm not sure. And it would be good to know if you are a fellow Torontonian and a fellow bug lover. Sorry, keep leaving the frame. So this is how a lot of sculpting works. You mess around and it's a mess and it's a mess and it's a mess, and then it just comes together and you're like, oh wow, okay, I didn't think that was going to happen for me. And then it does. Just got to stick with it till it does. Because I'm trying to replicate this bit of sexiness, and I got a ways to go. What's going on? Black Templars. Oh my god, everyone's talking about Warhammer. I'm gonna scan. Yo, Earthman Brick. Welcome, man. Hey, my dude. Talking about Crodeche. So we're having some talk about Crewtoberfest. That's good. Oh, Rickard Sand. That's new. Wait, Rickard Sand, is that a Game of Thrones reference? I figure it's got to be. Oh, Colin. Okay, now I know who you are. Yeah, you have 30,000 points of Tyranids. That's a bit ridiculous. Wow, this is a really... God, why do people watch these videos not live? I just sit here and read comments for a while and don't say anything. I'm like, is the video still playing? Sorry. Rickard Sand likes Necrons. That's good. Kurdish did strange things. Okay. I mentioned a plan to do a Dactylus that grew ammo on its back and through. Okay, yes. Colin, I remember your Dactylus plan. You got to do that. I got to see it. I think you just created Instagram, right? And I'm following you. Oh, David. Hey, buddy. Good to see you, buddy. You can feel free to go to bed. Cool space wolves. Boo. Text to speech. Text to speech. I don't know how that works. Yeah, I think I remember that, Colin. Okay, awesome. Now I know who you are. Okay, back to sculpting. Because I can't keep up with the comments anyway, and I don't know how the text-to-speech would work. My text-to-speech is calling my brother and having him read them to me. That's the efficient system we're working with. I gotta get this shape down. Because now it's just a blob. It's separating. That's not good. When green stuff separates, you got a problem. Oh, what am I doing? Way too low. Ah, this is the one where, like, it's got the white shit on it. This knee is nowhere nice as the last knee. I hate myself. And that little fucking fly that won't leave me alone, I hate it too. Save me. Save me, oh, color shaper of wonder. Take all of my ills and make them good, because I hath lost myself. God damn it. Too many tools. So I thought about doing a new version of my previous video related to all the different kinds of putty and like the properties of them, but expanding it, because I think that I previously only talked about green stuff, and I might have talked about Epoxy Sculpt, but I thought about like doing this like crazy thing where I like take putties and like put them under time lapse so you can see, because like the thing with green stuff is that it's rubberized so you can stretch it and stuff, and it's forgiving in some respects. But another bad thing about green stuff is if you do something like this with green stuff and it's like poking up from your model, it's very slowly going to sag down. And I thought that might be something that's cool to see on a time-lapse video. And then you could like, we could test how much different putties sag. Like make like a long skinny piece of Epoxy Sculpt, make a long skinny piece of green stuff, put them all side by side and see how they fare against gravity. Anyway, this is the nerd shit that I've been thinking about doing, because I want to explain to people the differences between like epoxy putty and green stuff and milliput and that kind of stuff, but I want to like illustrate it in a visual format, because what's the purpose of doing a video if it's just talking the whole time? So I thought that was one way that we could illustrate it. I have some other ideas for tests to show like how brittle they are and like how strong they are, that kind of thing. Anyway, I feel like I should do like one stream a month that's an educational stream, like that. If you've seen my Nurgle one that I did recently, where I showed how to sculpt Nurgle, versus just like the hey, watch me sculpt random shit stream. So yeah, I know people want me to do a video about hair or fire. I think that was one request that came up before. Does anyone else have any ideas of how to sculpt videos on like a specific topic that I should do? Requests, suggestions? Post them in the comments. Or are people good to just watch me sculpt random stuff that isn't a specific topic? Basically, what random piece of Tyranid junk am I sculpting this week? Great for Tyranid players, and Tyranid players need more content. So, but yeah, I guess you turn up, so you enjoy some part of it, which I appreciate greatly. Okay, what are we going to do here? I think he needs more leg here. What are we saying? Do I know what I'm doing? Not a fucking clue. Just figuring it out as I go. With a loose idea of an old Screamer Killer Tyrannofex knee in my head to base it off of. Because I do love those boys. They're good boys. Okay, this is looking slightly less crap, which I'm happy about. I think I need more putty, though. David, man, if you're still here, you're... Oh, I was about to say, how's the handle working out? It's working out great. I was going to send you a message, actually. I forgot to. But see this? When I'm not sculpting, I just like leave stuff on my desk on the handle. And it is the case that it's just sitting here. And I have gotten distracted while trying to work because my computer's right over there. And as I'm trying to work, I like look over and I see like my pristine dominatrix arm sitting on this beautiful handle, sitting on my desk like this. And I'm like, damn, that's a nice arm. Do I really have to work, or could I just go work on that arm? So it's like this like piece displaying my brilliance. So I really appreciate it. Especially this part where I keep something in this handle and I just like put it like, I'm like sculpting on it, sculpting on it, sculpting on it. I'm like, man, I got to put this down. I got to go do something. Well, I'll just put it right in there. And to make matters even better, it looks like a sex toy. But yes, I'm really loving it, David. And if you want a handle like this, David can make you one. David, what's your, you wanna post your Instagram deets or whatever in the comments? It's like Dr_Hills_painting handle or something. David makes these from scratch, and it's really cool. This is like a squishy thing that you can hold on to. It's got a chuck in it, and it's got different size chucks, so you can put your pins in there and then just hang on to it, and then just stick it here when you're done. It's treating me nice. Okay. Name is a play on. Okay. Heavy bag Teco toys. Nope, but I probably should. Comparison between epoxy, Neatite, and milliput. Yeah, I should do that. Horns, spurs, and claws. These things are easy, Kajan. I kind of did that. You got to watch the Nurgle video. Did you watch the Nurgle video? Because I kind of did horns, spurs, and claws in that. Tusks I did as well, Andrew, to watch the Nurgle video. That's like... It's a very short part of the Nurgle video because they're not that complicated. Claws the same way as I did teeth, Jacob? No, do claws differently. Because the way that Hydra did teeth was he did them like flat in the mouth, whereas I would like do them like sticking out. But really how I do teeth is I just find teeth on models and I stick them in the mouth of the thing I want to make. Because sculpting anything that's long and pointy with green stuff is not easy. You got to put a wire in it, and then you got to like get the shape on the outside of the wire with the green stuff, or you got to use a piece of plastic card and cut it to the shape and then clean it up with green stuff. Done. There's your video. I went and listened to your podcast here. Design, agree on talons, maybe sculpt up some scything talons folded against the form. Yeah, Colin, alternate versions of scything talons would look great. Colin, if you're on Instagram, do yourself a favor and go and look up someone named Blackheart Sculpting, I think it is. Blackheart Sculpting. He is really talented, and he does some interesting stuff with... oh, actually, you watched that video, so you saw the Moloch thing, probably, I guess, and I talk about Blackheart Sculpting and how he has an alternate take on scything talons. Spikes on the thighs of Lictor and Hive Tyrant. Kajan, doing the spikes on a Lictor and a Hive Tyrant, I honestly would tell you to cut them out of plastic card or sheet styrene and stick them in, and then like clean them up with a file or something. Maybe do a little bit of green stuff, but sculpting that kind of stuff that's pointy with putty is not easy. Or you could do it in epoxy sculpt and cut it down. There's David's content. If you want a painting handle, I recommend them highly. Okay. Yeah, Blackheart Sculpting. There we go. Yeah, Blackheart Sculpting is really cool, different, new Tyranid ideas, which I love. Okay, a little more putty. Secret of green stuff is you always need less green stuff than you think you do. You're like, oh, this is like no green stuff at all, and you shove it in, and it's like the most amount of green stuff you ever put on a model in your life. So don't ever be afraid to cut back on green stuff. If you've got too much in an area, just take it off. It'll be better in the long run. Okay. Silicone shapers are awesome for blending weird new bits of green stuff into your old bits of green stuff. This is another, Colin, this is another situation where I'm going to like better define the window, because I made the window and then I sculpted in this detail, but it's not perfect. I should put a little more of a rim around it. So I'm getting a bit of that here. And then I just kind of put a cavity under the edge of the window so that it reinforces that edge. Don't want to do it too deep. Kind of bring that cavity up around here, because I'm going to have to redefine that window later. Or better define it, rather. So, Colin, whereabouts are you in the GTA now? Or GTHA now? Now that Toronto house prices have driven you out, I am currently taking refuge from Toronto house prices in my father's basement. And it works well for us. Me and the wife. However, he's an old dude, so I think he appreciates us being around and helping him out. Okay. Just defining where this leg is kind of plugging in underneath. This leg design is pretty good. I feel like it's a little bit lazy, but whatever, it works. And it's reminiscent of the old Screamer Killers, which I love to death. And kind of how their knee was set up. Is it, or am I actually thinking of the new plastic Tyrannofexes? I don't know. I might be misrepresenting this, misremembering. This is the inside of the thigh, so I shouldn't go too crazy because it's going to be up against the creature's body and no one's going to see it. But as you know from my other videos, I love killing myself for areas that no one is ever going to see. Okay. Oh, shit, that's different. Curious. This was pointier on the other dude. Also, I'm getting an issue here where I've got like a dangly bit of green stuff that's pushing out too far from the model, which is not great. Because as I said, green stuff droops. So it doesn't handle that too well. I do need you for once. Poke that through. Oh shit, it's almost 10 o'clock. I'm gonna have to call this soon. It's been a riveting one. I feel like this has not been as exciting as the other ones, but whatever. It is what it is. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Hopefully you have enjoyed this episode of Modern Synthesis Sculpting Theatre. The pushing and pulling of green stuff until you get to a point where you're like, well, shit, that's good enough. Because really, I'm done with you. You hideous, monstrous thing, you. These are not even. Not in the slightest, Mr. Pink. Should I even try to fix it? Fuck, maybe. You know what it is? It's because I added extra to this thing and I was trying to hide it. But I should probably just trim that off rather than shoving it under a thing that's way too long. Whatever, man. I'm like defining new Tyranid design here. This is not like any meat on any existing Tyranid, so I can just fuck around. Do they really have to be symmetrical? Do they really? I mean, it's not like this leg's going to be standing right next to the other leg and you're going to be looking at them and being like, Jesus, why don't they look alike? It's not like that's going to happen. Okay, they're going to go like this. Thing one, thing two. Shit. Okay, I'm done. I'm tired of it. Oh no, but I've still got green stuff. What do I do? What to do with this spare green stuff? Oh, keep building up that weird thing that you're never going to see, but there's a big gap there. Mostly hidden, but might as well put some filler in there. Also, could make these curves a little more organic because they're looking a little like you chopped this off a Tyrannofex. Because you did. Don't you love it when you sculpt like little details and textures in and then you go and sculpt right over them? Isn't that the best? Standard Tyranid webbing texture number 43729. Great filler. Mostly accomplished by just making troughs and then shoving silicone shaper ends into it. Or ball burnisher, that works too. 474 Tyranid texture 47329. Is that what I just said? Hopefully. Okay. And that's the end of my green stuff. So I guess I'm done. Oh, I feel like there's a lot of chatter this time and not a lot of sculpting. And I'm also not thrilled about how that turned out. But it's done. And I'm definitely not going to obsess over it and go in and try and fix it. Definitely not at all. Maybe I can cut it back later. Maybe I can make the other one a little bigger later. I don't know. But it's a kneecap. God, it's horrible. Commit. I regret this. I'll sculpt the pointy bit in after. Remember that thing I said about putting too much green stuff in an area and you just got to cut it out? That's what we did. Done. Enough. Enough. Okay, well, thanks for joining the stream. Let's take a final look at these comments to see what the heck is going on. Boop. Okay, yeah, got that. That glow is what makes it great. What glow? His base is so damn bright it's glowing. Yes! I love it. I love how glowy the base is. Oh my god. Okay, we talked about that. His gaunts are amazing. Yes. Yes. Xenomorph conversions are often requested. I find Xenomorph conversions really boring. Like, I think Tyranid's ripped off Xenomorphs, no question, but they kind of took it in a new direction, and they're a little more interesting. Like, Xenomorphs are just like, let's make this head look like a penis, and let's paint this thing black and make it shiny. And I'm like, okay, what else can you do? It's like, no, that's just that, and this sentence explaining it. I don't love Xenomorph conversions. I feel like I should do a Xenomorph head and then I should cast it and sell it and make myself rich. Symbio Joe, welcome, buddy. I guess it is morning for you now. Glad you showed up for part of it. I feel like you didn't miss much. There was a lot of bullshitting on this one. A little bit of sculpting, but oh well. Oh, dang. Colin, congratulations. That's impressive, man. Belleville's pretty good. I hear there's a good bakery there. I think I went there. Mr. St. Pitt, good evening. I'm about to shut this down, though, because it's getting... I was about to say it's getting late here, but I don't think that that compares to how late it is other places. Oh, CF4 Sprite. I think I missed that. Thanks, David. Follow David. Are you working on the Gundam RX? No, no Gundam. Good night, everyone. Oh, good night, Colin. I missed you. Sorry, buddy. Night, Hive Tyrant. Oh, are people saying good night because I said I'm wrapping this up? Good luck on the Hive Tyrant, Friendly Hive Tyrant. Josh, you're handsome and funny, buddy. Good night. Steve, shit, you just rolled up. I'm out, buddy. Maybe you can watch the recording of the video. Glad you liked it. You guys enjoy you guys go to bed is what you should do. Insomnia is not great. Maybe the little plastic army man can help you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining the stream. It was good to see so many people on here. I couldn't really keep up with the comments, which I feel like is a good plan because that means there's a lot of people here. And I'm glad you guys were keeping each other entertained. Hopefully you liked the small bit of sculpting that I did get done. And then, oh, you're here throughout. Good. Next, yeah, happy Crutober, Symbio Joe. And next week I will be doing Crute on the stream. So we can look forward to that. Some Crute sculpting. I need to figure out how the hell I'm going to build a Crutox. I've got the start of it, but I'm going to get through to the end of it. So you can look forward to that. Videos for Tyranids. Oh, sorry, your Tyranid suggestion video was Xenomorphs. I didn't mean Tyranid video suggestions. I meant any video suggestions. Anything you want to learn how to sculpt. I can do Xenomorph heads, but it's just going to be like, hey, take this Tyranid head, cover over all the details, put some like tubes along the sides, and we're done. Okay, sorry, Kajan, you're right. I should do hooks and talons and stuff like that. I should do a video for that. I should do Xenomorph heads, all this stuff. And then we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm off. Oh, shit, Friendly Hive Tyrant. November. That's amazing. I like that. I feel like November is always Kit Bashember. But November is something that we should chase down another time. Because that could be awesome for Tyranids. I'm going to keep that in mind. Friendly Hive Tyrant, thanks for that suggestion. I think maybe October is going to be the month of Crute, but maybe November is going to be the month of Tyranids. I mean, I've been doing a lot of Tyranids lately, but maybe I should do some more Tyranids in November. Anyway, thank you so much for joining the stream. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I'm always very critical of myself, and I feel like this wasn't super interesting, but hopefully you found it interesting. And we had some good chats, and I'm sorry for whatever's happening in the United States. I wish I could bring you all up here and put you up in my shed, but I don't think that's realistic. Anyway, stay safe, stay cool, wear your mask, wash your hands, stay away from people, believe what the doctors tell you. Talk to you later. Good night.